Hi, this is Ms. Zhu, and we're going to be working on our homework on page 517 today. There are 3 things that you must do for your homework tonight. First, you have to write the area formula for each question. You also need to show all of your work by plugging in your numbers correctly and not using any calculators to do your work. And you must have 2 answers. One is an exact answer and the other is an approximate answer. So let's get started on number 1 here. They tell us that the radius is equal to 3 feet. There is no picture with it, but if I were to draw a picture of that circle and the radius, I would draw it from the center going out to the edge, and the radius would be represented by 3 feet, like that. Okay, I would first write my formula. The area formula is equal to pi times the radius squared. Okay, so knowing that, I'm going to do the area is equal to pi times, and my radius that they give me is 3 feet. So I'm going to plug in 3 feet. Oops. And that's going to be 3 feet squared. So 3 feet squared is actually the same as 9. So the area is equal to 9. Then I'm going to write the pi after the 9. And typically that's just the appropriate way that we write math. And then I'm going to label that feet squared. And every area is always measured by feet squared. It's kind of like buying carpet. When you buy carpet, you don't buy like 1 foot or 3 feet. You know, you're not buying like a little piece of carpet. You're buying like an actual area of carpet that is like a chunk, which is represented by a foot. Okay, a square foot actually. Feet squared, square foot. Okay, so that's my exact answer, and then I'm going to do my approximate answer. So, going down a little bit, my approximate answer is going to be the area 9 times, and I'm going to approximate, I should have used a squiggly equal sign to approximate. 3.14 is approximate for pi, so if I multiply 3.14 times 9, I will get the answer 28.26. So I'm going to get the area is approximately 28.26 feet squared. That's my approximate answer. So that would be my 2 answers for number 1. Problem number 2. They tell me that the diameter equals 10 meters. Okay. If I were to draw a picture of that, even though they didn't give me one, they do give me one for 4, 5, and 6. The diameter is the length all the way across through cutting through the center from one side to the other, and that would measure 10 meters. Not centimeters. Okay. Now my formula for the area is area equal to pi r squared. The formula, I need radius, but they give me the diameter. So what I know about the relationship of diameter and radius is that the radius is half the diameter. Okay, so I'm going to half 10, and that would be 5. So the area is going to be pi, and I'm going to plug in 5 meters and then square that. So if I square 5 meters, I'm then going to get that the area is equal to 25, and then I write the pi after 25. And then my exact answer would have meters squared, and there would be my exact answer for number 2. And then I would do my approximate answer. Area is then approximately 25, and I'm going to multiply that with 3.14. Okay, and if I multiply that, I'm going to do that on the side, and I'm not going to use a calculator. Zero, 15, 8, 7. And did we all get that answer? Area is approximately 78.5 meters squared, and that's my approximate answer. Okay, and we're going to do that for all of the questions. Be careful with your fractions. Starting on 11 and 13, you can feel free to write it as a decimal. Okay, so actually why don't we go down and do number 11 with a fraction. On number 11, you may choose to write it as a decimal or keep it as a fraction. They tell us that the radius is half of a meter. So using the formula, area is pi radius squared. I'm going to plug in half, so pi is 1/2 to the second power. And how do I square 1/2? I would do 1/2 times 1/2, which is the same as multiplying 1 times 1 and 2 times 2, which gives me 1/4. So my area as a fraction would be 1/4 pi with meters squared. Okay. Or if I choose to write it as a decimal, then 1/4 is the same decimal as 0.25 pi meters squared. So that's okay if you want to also write it as a decimal. These are my exact answers. Then to get my approximate answer, I can actually probably use the decimal one. It'll be a little easier for me. And then I'm going to do the area is approximately 0.25 multiplied with 3.14. So when I multiply that, I'm going to get, okay, this is like the last question. Okay, then my decimal will be right there. So my approximate answer is about 0.78785 meters squared. Okay, and you can see that I do all my steps neatly. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Again over here, step 5, and then getting me to step 6. And you'll see that anytime I do work, I just kind of do it off on the side and then come back into my equation and do that step by step. That's number 11. So when you get to number 13, feel free to leave it as a fraction. You might want to, in number 13, change it to an improper if you decide to keep it as a fraction, or do the decimal is just fine too. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget, there is a little short quiz on Thursday on area and circumference.